You're doing everything right. You're spending thousands on hyperbaric oxygen, fasting 18 hours a day, taking 47 supplements. But here's the gut punch that keeps you up at night. What if you're just extending a life you're not even excited to wake up to? Today, I'm showing you that the one ingredient that makes longevity worth pursuing, and it's not in a capsule. Hi, I am Dr. Cheryl Russell. I help women and men over 50 design a second act that's worth the extra decades we're fighting for. I have a PhD in human capital development, decades of professional experience, but none of that prepared me for loving a son who has an addiction issue, losing my spouse at 49, and quitting my career at 52. In spite of all of that, I have perfect health markers. I try to optimize everything, eat right, exercise. However, my mental health was dead inside. That's when everything changed. Here's what we're covering today. The scientific gap in longevity research nobody talks about. Why your biohacking stack feels empty and what to add. 3 tactical steps to make your extended life actually worth living. The social prescription that rivals NAD+ for health impact. Stick around because the 3rd step is the one most longevity folks completely skip, and it's the difference between existing longer and actually thriving. Let's start with science. A 2023 meta-analysis in Nature Human Behavior reviewed 90 studies covering 2.1 million participants. The findings: social isolation increases mortality risk by 32%. That's worse than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Here's the tactical move. Audit your week. Pull out your phone right now. Count the number of meaningful face-to-face interactions you had last week. Not Zoom, not texting, actual human presence. If it's under 3, you are in the danger zone. I did this audit after my loss of my husband. I came up with one meaningful conversation. I was starving my soul. Here is what I did. After my husband passed, I joined a grief class. I didn't know anyone. I signed up for group exercise classes. I felt awkward at first. I started hosting happy hours, had my charcuterie tray, and invited friends. And within a month, sleep got deeper, blood work looked better. But more importantly, I wanted to wake up. In 2020, Harvard study of adult development tracked participants for 85 years. The conclusion: the quality of your relationships is the single strongest predictor of health and happiness. Not supplements, not fasting, relationships. But here's the thing, connection alone isn't enough. You need the second ingredient. You can live to be 100, but if those extra years are spent bored, unfulfilled, or disconnected from meaning, what's the point? A 2019 study followed 7,000 adults over 50. Those with a strong sense of purpose had 15.2% lower risk of death, better cognitive function, reduced inflammation markers. Purpose is a biological intervention. So here's the tactical shift. Most people think purpose is the grand, dramatic thing. I want to save the world. No. Purpose is showing up for something beyond yourself. Here's how I found mine after loss. I asked myself 3 questions. What would I do if I knew I had exactly 10 years left? Not 50, not 2, 10 good ones. What problem did I see in the world that makes me angry? For me, it was people dying with regrets, having never taken that leap. And what would my younger self thank me for doing right now. Teaching, mentoring, not hiding my story. Your answers will all be different. Maybe it's mentoring young people in your field. Maybe it's fostering rescue dogs. Maybe it's finally writing that book or starting that nonprofit you've always wanted to start. Here's what you do today. Set a 15-minute timer. Write down answers to those 3 questions. No editing, no judgment. One of those answers is your next move. A 2021 study from the University College of London found that people with purpose had lower levels of inflammatory biomarkers, specifically IL-6 and C-reactive protein. Translation: purpose doesn't just feel good, it heals you at your cellular level. Now, most people stop here, they optimize health, they find purpose, but there's one final piece that ties it all together. And if you are finding value here, please hit that subscribe button. New videos every week to help you design a second act with no regrets. The truth is, you can have perfect blood work and a calendar full of all kinds of purpose, but still miss your entire life because you're not in it, you're not present. After my husband died, I realized something horrifying. I couldn't remember a meaningful conversation with the majority of my friends or family. I was there physically, but mentally, I was thinking about work, I was thinking about the kids, I wasn't present. In 2018 study by Killingsworth and Gilbert at Harvard found that people spend 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're currently doing. And when their minds wander, they report being less happy. We're literally living half of our lives in our heads, worrying about blood work, obsessing over protocols, planning the next biohack. Here's the tactical practice that changed everything. The 3-breath check-in. Set a timer on your phone for 3 random times a day. When it goes off, stop whatever you're doing, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I here right now? That's it. Sounds simple, right? But here's what happened to me. Week 1, I realized I was eating lunch while scrolling Twitter, not tasting anything. Week 2, I caught myself in a conversation with my daughter, nodding, but mentally reviewing my supplement stack. In week 3, I started noticing sunlight, bird sounds, the texture of my coffee cup. I started living inside my life instead of managing it from the outside. A 2024 study in psychosomatic medicine found that mindfulness practice reduced cortisol by 23% and improved telomere length markers. But beyond the science, when you're present, everything tastes better. It feels richer. It matters more. What's the point of living to 110 if you're not present for any of it? So here is what happened when I put all 3 together. Connection, purpose, and presence. Within 60 days, my resting heart rate dropped. I could feel it. I woke up excited instead of just optimized. I stopped Googling best anti-aging protocols at 2 a.m. I started building something that outlives me. But here's the biggest shift. I stopped trying to avoid death and started making life worth extending. A 2022 study from the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine found that when people combine social connections, purpose, and mindfulness practices with traditional health interventions, they experience 43% improvement in self-reported well-being, better medication adherence, and sustained behavior change over 5 years. Here's the thing. HBOT works, fasting works, supplements work, but they work better when you have a reason to wake up. Imagine this, you're 75, healthy, sharp, energized. You're surrounded by people who matter. You're contributing to something bigger than yourself. You're here for all of it, not planning the next protocol. That is the life worth extending, and it starts today. Let's recap. Here's what we covered today. Connection is medicine. Audit your week. Aim for 3+ meaningful face-to-face interactions. Purpose is a biological intervention. Answer those 3 questions. Pick one action. Presence makes it all matter. Start the 3-breath check-in today. You've got the supplements, the protocols, the data. Now add the ingredient that makes it all worth it. You're not just extending your life. You're reclaiming it. One connection, one purpose-driven step, one present moment at a time. Here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below, which of these 3 are you going to tackle first? Connection, purpose, or presence? I read every comment. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly videos and build that second act with no apologies and no regrets. Check out the playlist in the description. I've got videos on managing grief, redesigning your career after 50, and biohacking. This is your life. Make it worth the extra decades you're fighting for. I'll see you next week.